We are live at SRL 360 headquarters, and I'm joined here by Lachlan Martin, and later we'll be joined by Tyron Clay. But how's it been going this week?
Yeah, not too bad. Some interesting games this week, to say the least. Some interesting bit to talk about in this week in the SRL. A lot have happened. Um, it's gonna be a good episode. Should be a good episode.
Yeah, a lot to digest this week. I mean, it's been a huge week in the SRL, and of course, where do we start? Was it the South Sydney versus Eels in round 2?
It was, this was an interesting game. I think the big telling point for me was I don't even know what the difference in this game. I think this was a very closely contested game. In the end, it was the boot of Butterfield that decided the difference.
Do you mean? Oh no, the penalty goal. Yeah.
Penalty goal, yeah. 14 points to 12. It was. Could have gone either way. I think I say if a better team won. But if Eels had have won that game, there would have been no complaining from me. It was a very closely contested game. I think the real
should have played better.
Sorry, go on.
But I think we should have played a little bit better. We haven't started the best, but I think the thing is with us, so I mean, we haven't played great, but we've still won both matches. But I just know now that we just have to step it up because the next 2 weeks we play the best two teams in the comp, and we're just gonna have to step it up a couple of gears in 1 week. But I think it's achievable because we've been getting 15 upgrades consistently both weeks now. I think that it's possible. So I think we'll improve at least. It's possible to improve in that.
Yeah, well, I think when you look at some of the look, I'll go over a few key players. I think for the Eels, I was really impressed with a couple of the younger forwards. I think especially one by the name of let me remember his name quickly, Anthony McDonald. I thought he was a real standout for them. 104 run meters, 11 tackles, 2 line breaks, had a very strong game. Abraham Walker was another one. I think he made his debut last season. He's obviously in his second season, but I think he's probably been the Eels' best forward at the beginning of the season. He's been really strong in the second row spot for them.
Yeah, he's been really good, hasn't he? Been really inspiring for them. I mean, he was really good again. Yeah, but yeah, unlucky for the Eels not to get the job done, but yeah, it is what it is for them, and I think that I think that shows that they can beat teams, so that's encouraging.
Yeah, look, it is. A lot of people saying they might go 0-7. Obviously, they still could. So could Penrith. This could be the battle for the spoon next week, which I hope it's not. But I hope it's not because I don't want Penrith to get the spoon. But I do think the Eels have shown a lot. I do also think that the Rabbitohs were a bit off their game. They started really strong. I believe Jai Collins scored in the opening couple of opening exchanges. Am I right in saying that? Maybe it was Miss South's first or second set.
I didn't see the opening sets, so I don't actually know. I was out for a couple.
Oh, okay. Well, I think Jai Collins scored in the opening. He also scored both their tries. Yeah, probably his best game in a couple of weeks this season. I think the halves really step up once again for the Rabbitohs, Jack Carl and Joshua Butterfield. Butterfield ran the ball really strongly, and Jack Carl's kicking game, he had the ball on a string. 414 kick meters. I believe that's the second most ever.
Yeah, it is.
Behind the player who has the record, who has 426. I don't remember who it is. Let me quickly check. Huey Smith? Yep, alright. See you next Eels player?
Yeah,
I haven't heard that name in a while. Yeah, okay, fair enough. That would have been ages ago. Well, that's season 1
season
or season 2?
Season 2 against the Raiders.
Oh, fair enough then. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the halves roles are suited a lot better. For Butterfield suited a lot better than number 7, and Carl suited a lot better than 6. I think the 7 just likes to run a bit more, and the 6 just controls the game, which I think Carl's just way better at, and Butters is way better runner. So I think it suits them better.
What I will say about the Rabbitohs is they've struggled a lot to get their back four to fire so far this season. Once again, I think obviously you have the sort of players you have usually back there, right? Tyron Clay, who had a lot better game than he had last week, I'll give him that. 120 run meters. He was the one player that I think played decent, but other than that, Jai Collins, Jackson Cutler, and Josh Saddlecart, and Chase Williams for that matter. None of them, the highest out of those four who were switching in and out of the back four the entire game, was 67 meters by Jackson Cutler. Collins obviously scored 2 tries.
It's got on,
but it was improved by Jai Collins. I'll give him that. But overall, I think the Rabbitohs have to get that back four right because it wasn't great in my opinion.
And that's fair enough. I mean, it wasn't great. Yeah, I will.
What I will say is, I think when you look at last season, I think against the game against the Cowboys, you had players such as Jackson Cutler and Thomas Bendonga, who was at the Rabbitohs at the time, who played tremendously. And you know, if they can't get those players clicking, then they might struggle quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a test the next couple of weeks whether we can those backs can step up. I think our forward pack's actually stepped up really nicely, which was considered our weak spot of our team. I think they've stepped up really nicely into the shoes, and I think Jackson Allison's been huge for us so far. And if he can continue,
yeah, I think Jackson Allison is back to career best form. I don't think he's been in this type of form since season 1. Season 2, we know what happened in season 2. Wasn't great. Season 3, he was in a very strong lineup, but probably underrated for the most part this season, but still only averaged 80 or so meters. But this season, I think he's gonna be one of the players going for probably second row of the year so far. He was tremendous.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is the Eels did really well to keep a player by the name of Aaron Ahir out of the game. 13 run meters is all he managed to run for. Is that concerning for you, Liam?
Really, I don't know. I don't think the prop role is really his type of play. I don't think he's the type of player for prop, and I think I learned that. I think putting him on a prop was a mistake. Maybe we should have put him in the back row, but I don't know. I just feel there wasn't really much for him to do, was there? It was like he played 40 minutes, but yet really just didn't make an impact. It was just like, what do you do with him? I mean, I don't know. He wasn't able to make an impact on the game for some reason, and maybe Locke's a little bit different for him. I think Locke's probably a little bit different for him. So maybe it's just those 2 little modifications, but I'm not too concerned. If I see it, until I see him play like that at Lock, I'm not too concerned.
That's fair enough. I mean, yeah, I think. Look, what I will say is I think Hayden Davis and Mason Ramy were really solid all game. Drake Dranigan probably had his best game of the season. I only had 2 errors, but he did make a line break, 21 solid tackles, as long with nearly 100 run meters.
He's a hard worker. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I think he just works his ass off all game. I think that's pretty much it. I think again for the Eels, I actually want to shout out a couple players from the Eels quickly. I think Butler and Blake Harris, although they're not winning games, I think they've worked quite well as a half combination so far this season.
Yeah, they played quite well. I'll give them that. So the next game we got, was it the
Manly versus Broncos?
No, it was Cowboys Warriors.
Was it Cowboys Warriors? Was it?
Yeah,
oh yes, it was. Yep, my bad.
Yeah, so the Cowboys Warriors, that ended in 24 points to 6. Was I correct? It's insane.
Yes, it was 24-6.
Alright, so the Cowboys came out on top. I thought the Warriors were going to upset them here. Apparently not. The Cowboys...
It was really interesting. Sorry to cut your continue, Liam.
You go.
It was a really interesting game because Cowboys made a couple errors at the beginning of the game, and Warriors put them under the pump. But an offload that went wrong, intercepted by Amatangi, seeing him run 100 meters, got the Cowboys off, and from that point onwards, the Warriors just weren't in the game. They just were never able to get themselves back into the game.
Yeah, I mean, I did say that, and I was like, wow. I thought the Warriors were really started well, and I was like, ooh, maybe they're gonna make a game of this. But the Cowboys just put their foot down and was like, nah, we're still contenders in this league. People are gonna respect us more.
Even so, I have to give respect to the Cowboys here. Their defense wasn't brilliant considering how many errors they made. Damon Warner, 4 errors. Ryan Cavallo, 3 errors. That's 7 errors between the halves. Usually we'd not see teams be able to even have a shot with that. But their defense just was so incredible.
As I've said, I'll say this again, but when you play the top two teams, if those two have 7 errors combined out of them two, if you play Raiders or Manly with those amount of errors, I think they will score a bunch more than 6 points. I think 7 errors out of them
Yeah,
is you can't do
that's
that
what the
against Raiders
concerning
or
part
Manly.
is.
You can't do that
That's
against
what
the
the
top.
concerning part is. I think they both ran the ball really well, but that's the concerning part. The concerning part is the 7 errors. And Warriors, they should be very disappointed in this game. They had countless opportunities to start well, and I think if they score in that first set, it's a potentially completely different game. If they had scored when they had the ball early on, instead of throwing a double offload, which ended up in an Amatangi try, if they had scored in that set, it would have been a totally different story. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but just going back on the errors, I think as much as it's a concern, I think that it's probably not as big of a concern because it's not like they're making 7 errors every single game. As long as it doesn't continue, I think it's fine. So yeah,
Well,
I think
I can't agree. I'm sorry, Liam, but I can't agree with that because last week they did make that many errors, and look what happened to them. It
they
actually was also 24 points to 6. And if I have a look here, let's go actually quickly look at the error count here. So, Momoston had 3, Moana had another 2, Cavallo had 2, you know,
something
and a
I
bunch of other players had 1.
something I will say though
So,
is Chris Lord is playing really well this season in career best form. He's
yeah,
stepped up
he's been
another notch.
incredible. He scored a double this, I assume was his first career double. 193 run meters was amazing. 3 tackle breaks, 4 line breaks. He's been really good this season. Probably, no, he has been the best lock. I'd have to say.
Would you rank him above Matt Harris? I don't
Best
really.
lock this season. Best lock this season.
I don't know. Matt Harris still had a really good round one. I don't remember what happened really in round two. I mean, was Harris really good in round two? Because I didn't see much of the
He
Manly
got, he got
game.
injured. I wouldn't say. Oh, he ran 434 run meters. 6. Oh, he had 6 line breaks. So yeah, but he had 4 errors.
4 errors, yeah, it's probably not worthy then. I'd probably say based on this season form, and you could give it to Lord. Yeah, I think that it's really a good thing for the Cowboys to have Lord around. But if they can cut down the halves errors, I think they'll be a really good team and a force to contend with. Real force. So, shall we move on to the next game?
Yeah, I think we are. I think we should.
So the next game we have was the Broncos v Manly. Give me your thoughts.
This is an interesting one. I'll tell you why it's interesting. So obviously, there's a bit of a drama in a trade these clubs made after the game. Whether or not the game had any impact on the trade, probably not. Um, it'll depend. I think that with Manly, they had some really strong players, but I think a few of their players just didn't stand up. To be honest, we already mentioned Matt Harris 4 errors. I think he did make up for it with 6 line breaks. That's pretty good from a lock. But I think so on the forwards, Kane Chapman-Kenny for a fullback, only 110 run meters. Not something you'd expect. Hayden Melhart, only 86 run meters in 60 minutes. Not the greatest from a forward. I think Brad Goodwin only 60 run meters. And future Bronco, Creed Alexander Chapman, obviously he's left now, only 21 run meters. So they've got a bit of work to do, Manly, and this is not a position they're usually in. They realistically were pretty poor last week in the first half, fixed up for the second half, and they got lucky against the Broncos.
I mean, as you were saying, like something about Kane Chapman-Kenny, which something I've always been concerned on with Manly is, what if Manly's forward pack isn't on top? Is Kane Chapman-Kenny the same player that he is at fullback? if Manly aren't on top. If Manly aren't on top of the game, their forwards aren't winning the battle. They're getting the other team's getting the wrestle on them. Are they the same team? That's my question. Are they really the? Is Kane Chapman-Kenny the same player? Sorry, is he? Is he really the same player if his forwards aren't able to? Can he create something out of nothing? Maybe.
And look, this is my opinion, right? I have to say, based on what we've seen, I don't know if he can. Because when you look at it, right, I think it's pretty hard to be bad fullback in that side. But I know he was playing wing for New South Wales. When he played wing for New South Wales, you have to remember, he had a really poor Origin series.
He was
really
quiet.
Quite poor. And I remember he got a lot of criticism over his selection in Game 3 because he had, even when we won, he was pretty quiet. And he got pretty manhandled by the outside backs for the for Queenslanders. So, and I actually remember after that game thinking he might not be the same player this season and could, in fact, drop down quite a bit. Obviously, we know that ended up not happening, but it was something that we definitely thought about at the time. Which, yeah, it'd be interesting to see. It'd actually be interesting to see a lot of these players. Which players are actually the players who are guns, and which players are the players that are just
system really need their forwards to step up.
Yeah, well, yeah, not actually that good. Like, it's going to be interesting. Pretty sure Alexander Chapman gets that point to prove us now. He's been underrated for the most part. Will we see what he does? Obviously, we'll get more into the trade later, but we'll have to see what Alexander Chapman can do on his own now.
I mean, it's. I haven't seen a lot of him, but I don't know. Taken from what I can see, we'll get onto the trade later, but I think they could have got better. So,
look, what I'll say is he has been playing center at Manly, which let's be realistic. He's not a center.
He isn't a center.
He's not a center. He's been coming off the bench and playing center. He's not a center.
He isn't a center.
Right.
I'll give him that.
So we can agree on that, but
the only reason they play him at center is because he has an 85 speed.
Yeah, which it's interesting. I think his best position is lock, and I'm really keen to see how he goes this weekend.
It's just to see if he's strong enough, yeah, 100%. But I don't know. I feel concerned. I don't know why. I don't know. I just feel a bit concerned, but maybe it's just the overall that deceives me. It's just the eyes that maybe the 63 just deceives me. It could just be that. Well,
it'll be interesting when we talk about it later. When we go on to the Brisbane side, who obviously was Joey Kelly's last game for at least the time being, and considering what Joey Kelly's done in the past, this has probably been one of his. He hasn't been amazing this season. Luka Moscow has definitely outshined him. We had another great performance, Luka Moscow, 177 run meters, 4 line breaks, scored a try. So he's also been very solid, Luka Moscow, for the Broncos. Yeah. Now a lot of we had a lot of the build up. Sorry to I know you're about to speak, Liam, but sorry to cut you off here. We did have a lot of talk about this. What were your thoughts on the Sam Herbert and Justin Plays switch? Do you think that ended up playing off?
No, it didn't. I don't think it did at all, from what I've heard. But
so they only lost by 4 Broncos. If that change had not happened, you swap them back or whatever you do. You go Mark Iron back in 5'8", Herbert fullback, play center. Do you think they win?
Yeah, I do. I think Herbert makes a real difference. Herbert has that, and I've spoken about it before. I sometimes overemphasize it maybe, but I think Herbert near the line, he is so hard to stop. Like if you put Sam Herbert right next to if you get a play right, he does it so often. But if you have a big forward and he's standing on the inside, and you do a little inside ball like 2 meters out, he's unstoppable. And I think multiple times the Broncos lack that. They just need a diving run from Sam Herbert and get them over the try line.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to say whether or not the case. The point is they got really close here. I think Sam Herbert had a really good game at 5'8", to be fair. 147 run meters, 204 kick meters along with a try assist. Players had an alright at full game, fullback, 5 line breaks, 122 run meters, nothing special for a fullback. It's interesting. I'm still, how do I put this? I'm not sure yet. What I will say, though, is Mark Iron did work in the centres. He was amazing in the centres, I thought.
I didn't. I don't know. I didn't actually see much of this game, so I don't really know what really went on. I did see a bit of the Penrith Raiders game, but I didn't really see much of this game. I can't remember what I was doing.
Yeah, well, trust me when I say I thought Mark Iron was really good on that far touch line. He teared Manly up in the first 20 minutes or so. 78 run meters, 4 line breaks. For a centre, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So, if I don't get X Factor out of the centres, if Mark Iron was potentially at 5'8" still, which to his credit, I thought Mark Iron was actually probably one of Brisbane's better players last week at 5'8", so it's interesting.
Yeah, it is. Shall we move on to the next game?
Oh, I'd rather not, but anyway, sure. I guess we have to, don't we?
So Penrith Raiders. What was the final score in that game? I honestly cannot remember.
I don't know. It was something. I'm not too sure. It was, I think I don't know. We should just move on. We don't need to talk about this game.
All right, let me bring it up.
It was 36-18. Don't bother. I am looking at it. I just don't want to. I just want to admit that we lost. It was 36-18.
36-18.
Give me your thoughts before I cry.
Yeah, I mean, Penrith weren't bad in the second half, but the Raiders, I thought, again, just shown the SRL what they're all about. I think that they're a really good team, and they're a force to be reckoned with. I mean, they've shown it. I think they're a huge force to be reckoned with. Their forward pack seems to be going really well, and if they can just step up, if their backline can step up to when they need it, they're a really good side. And if Eli Barnes is back to career best form, I think they're a real force to reckon with. And I think they can take the premiership off Manly. Like, I think they are very close if they can play like this.
It's interesting because I think that, I do agree with you that they are a force to be reckoned with. I think Ruel Caval in particular, he's back to some of the best form we haven't seen since Origin. Like, he wasn't great last season, but I think he's got some VP points in both games, 2 points and 1 point, I believe it was. He's been very, very strong for the Raiders. Tim James is also being very good out of dummy half. He's sort of working his magic for them. He's able to find a lot more space due to their good forward pack. But yeah, I think they're definitely showing something this season, Raiders, that they can definitely compete.
Yeah, I mean, they're seeming to show a lot more. But I think, yeah, as I was saying, I think that they're just gonna be this. If at worst, I reckon they'll finish second. I don't see any other side really pushing up. Even as I hate saying, I don't know. As I hate saying as a South fan, not as a South fan, as a Souths player. I hate saying that as a South player, but I don't think we're gonna top above Canberra. Like, they're just too good.
It's going to be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen because Raiders, they're just on a whole nother level, though, aren't they? Like,
Yeah.
Realistically, who's going to stop them anyway? It's going to be. I really have no thoughts. I do want to, before we move on, I do want to shout out a couple of my players who I think played extremely well. I think Markley's, again, he's just so strong out of dummy half at the moment. Another 36 tackles he made this game. 36 to go along with Luke Macca's 31. They've both been. I think they've both been really, really strong. Yeah. Ollie Pace was another one, 130 run meters, 13 tackles, 2 tackle breaks, 3 line breaks. He was also really strong for us.
Okay, and we've got joining with us, Tyrone Clay is here now. Yep, so
Hello,
Tyrone's
guys.
here. Yep.
Oh yeah.
So, what were your thoughts on this game, Tyrone? The Panthers Raiders game.
It just shows the quality that the Raiders have. Winning, like, they did let Penrith go in there towards the end, but Canberra are forced to be reckoned with. I think that Canberra could be going towards a grand final. I think, to be honest, I just like the way they're building.
Yeah, 100%. So shall we move on to the some of the team list dramas? Let's go to trade news first, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The trade news. You guys give your thoughts first, because I think I have the most varying opinion out of all of us.
So the trade was Creed Alex Chapman from Manly is going to the Broncos for Joey Kelly. Tyrone, you give your thoughts first. I'll give my thoughts.
Oh, jeez.
Tyrone.
I think Manly have gotten the better end of this, for sure. To get one of probably the best wingers the SRL has ever seen for Creed Alex Chapman, I think that's a pretty good deal for Manly. Yeah, you go.
You go. You finish yourself.
No, you finish. No, I'm finished.
Okay. The Broncos, they got what they needed in a lock. I think they didn't. That's what they did need. But in saying that, Creed Alex Chapman, he is an underrated player. Maybe it's just the overall that deceives me, but I just think they could have got better. I just think they could have maybe been offered. They probably could have even got like a Daniel Punch. Maybe I would have. If Manly were offering me Daniel Punch or Creed Alex Chapman, I would probably take Daniel Punch by a country mile. But that's hypothetically if Manly did offer him. So maybe if it depends who they were offered, the Broncos were offered instead of him. But I think Alex Chapman isn't a bad player. Like, he's got 85 speed, which is the max for us. That's going to be gun at lock. Like, that's gun for a lock. And then he's got like pretty close to max strength. I think he's going to be pretty good as a lock. So he won't be a slouch. So it's not as bad as I first thought, but I think they could have got a little bit better.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
What's your thoughts?
In my opinion, I don't think the big issue out of this is the fact that they got Creed Alexander Chapman. I think there's a bigger issue at Brisbane Brewing, which could tear their team apart. I'll get to that in a minute, and I'll quickly go over my thoughts over this trade. I don't think the trade's as bad as it's made out to be. Now, personally, I wouldn't be doing a trade. Just because I think prop forwards their issue, not second row lock. Right? That's the reason. But I don't think Creed Alexander Chapman's the worst player. I mean, you said Daniel Punch, right? You would have gone for him. Alright? He actually has a better speed and strength than Daniel Punch, which is two of the best stats for, forwards, right?
I thought Daniel Punch is maxed.
Not on strength. He's maxed on speed, not strength. And he is maxed on speed, but he still has higher speed because locks go higher speed than props.
I swear Daniel Punch has... Is it? Oh, it's Brad Goodwin
It's an
I was meant
80.
to say. It was Brad Goodwin I was meant to say, sorry.
Oh, yeah, Brad Goodwin I'd go for.
Sorry.
But
I meant to say Brad Goodwin. Sorry, my bad.
But even so, I don't think it's that bad. But what I will say is there's a few problems brewing at Brisbane overall. I'm not sure if anyone else caught it, but I certainly did. For a brief moment, Pete Veretta, before the trading was made, was put on the trade market, which I think is pretty big news considering, you know, he was the vice captain. It was the captain last season.
Yeah.
On top of that, Lever Raymond's a bit unhappy. He got stripped of the goal kicker duties a couple weeks ago. I don't think the big issue out of this isn't the fact that the trade happened. I think the bigger issue is the outrage of it. And I have a feeling that there'll be a couple Brisbane players aren't happy about this.
Yeah. Look. Sorry, I haven't been here. Just
welcome, Butters. Don't worry.
Yeah. This trade was, in my opinion, almost a laughing stock. Look, I understand Creed is a great player. Look, don't get me wrong. He is probably one of the best. He's a rookie, right? Like,
he's a
sophomore. So you could call him a sophomore.
Okay, yeah. He is still really good for his rating. Like, don't get me wrong. But you're trading an Origin and Australian representative, one of the best wingers in the game, for Creed. You can't tell me that is a fair trade, or B, a good trade to make in the eyes of Brisbane. It is a poor trade, and it's a line of poor decisions by Justin Plays, in my opinion. And like you said, Pete Veretto's now on the market, and something needs to change at Brisbane.
Look, I think I do. It's a tough one because I don't think the trade's as bad as it's been out to make. Because, like, even so, right? Joey Kelly, has he really been that good this season?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he has.
He hasn't been spectacular, but I would still take him over Creed.
He hasn't been that good. Like, and I think when you have players such as Tyler Weston, who's been mainly playing in the centres, and Luka Moscow, who was shown pretty much like everyone missed that he was actually traded to Brisbane because everyone was talking about Joey Kelly going back to Brisbane. Those two players have outshined him this season.
Not.
I would say Luka Moscow's been better than Joey Kelly this season.
I'll agree with Lachlan there. I think Joey Kelly.
I think Tyler Weston has been too.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean. Look,
and even so, I don't think Joey Kelly's been that amazing this season. He's been decent, but he hasn't been. This has been amazing, and I think Alexander Chapman. Sorry, yeah. I don't like his stats aren't really accurate because he's been playing in the centers. And when you look at it, they needed a forward, and he has pretty decent like stats. He has like a 90 strength and an 85 speed. That's pretty decent.
Look, Joey had a bad game against Manly, but against his first round game, who was it against the Raiders? He still had a very impressive stat line: 158 run meters from 10 runs, 6 line breaks from those 10 runs, and a try. That I don't know what he's not getting as much ball from his playmakers, and that's what's hurting him at the moment. If he gets ball, he is as, if not more dominant than both Luka Moscow and Tyler Weston. He's been getting less touches than them, and that's why he hasn't had a lot of potential to show what he's got.
I still think, and look, I think in the end, it is kind of a win-win for Manly and Brisbane, because at the end of the day, Manly did need a winger, and good on Manly for going and getting that winger.
But how is it a win for the Broncos? I don't see that.
But they needed a forward. They needed a fast forward with good leg speed, good leg drive. That's what Creed brings.
But
I don't think it's as bad as it's been made. I don't think
they needed it. I
When
don't
you
think
have
they needed him.
when you have rookies starting in the back row, I think it does help a bit.
Well, they've just put Creed on the starting team as well. So I don't know.
Look, the only thing I'll say is I do think he's got his team list slightly wrong this week with it, but I don't think. I think I would have probably gone Pete Veretta starting second row with Jason Farrell coming off the bench.
Look,
But besides the point, I don't think it.
look.
I don't think the signing's as bad as it's made out to
I
seem.
think
Again, personally, I would have done it, but I don't think it's that bad.
Look, I think there needs to be a change in leadership. That's my opinion, because every week we're talking about Brisbane. Every week we're talking about something that has gone wrong. Whether
Week, didn't they? I'd argue they proved us wrong. They only lost by. We were talking about 50 against Manly. They only lost by 4, and you could argue they deserved to have won that game.
that was it was a good game, but that doesn't change the fact that Justin is making some poor decisions. Like we were talking last week, Herban moved to 5A. No offense, it was a bad move. Justin plays kicking. I don't think that was a good move either. Him signing Creed over and trading Joey, that's not a good decision. Moving Pete to the bench, not a good decision. And this is just this season. Last season, we were also talking about him and Levi Raymond and Pete and all this disruptor that was happening at the Broncos. And I think, no offense to Justin, I think he needs to be sacked. I don't think he is the right person to be leading Brisbane at this point in time.
Yeah.
Look, okay, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Who else leads them? What other option do they have at the moment?
Okay, you look at the people they got. You got Pete, who has been in leadership positions. I don't know why he wasn't.
Pete wasn't. Pete
removed.
should have been given captain from the get go. I'm sorry.
I agree.
Yeah,
Based off what?
Pete, based off his ability to rally his Brisbane players. In his first couple of seasons, I had barely heard a bad word about Pete, and I heard from everything that I had heard from Brisbane was that he was very much a respected and loved member of that team. Another person who we could chuck in there, Levi Raymond, who looks like he wants to be at that club, but they're not giving him the proper abilities to let him shine. I would put Levi in that position as well, but my first choice would be Pete.
Yeah.
My counter argument to this is, right, how does it make sense, right, to give captaincy to two players that are currently disgruntled at that club? It's going to create even more dramas, and I'll tell you why, right? There will be probably, even if there's probably a quieter group at Brisbane that agrees with Justin plays, right? And I wouldn't imagine just the places at the moment pleased with Pete Ferreira or Levi Raymond.
Mm.
You know? So, how does it make sense to give them captaincy when they're not even happy at the club?
Then they're not happy because of Justin plays.
It's as simple as that. I think it's simple as that.
It's Justin plays. I think it's just.
It's not that they're not happy with the team. Yeah. It's not that they're not happy with the team. It's they're not happy with the captaincy. And
okay, so even so, if they're not happy with the captaincy, the people that do like Justin plays, who actually want him to be the captain, they're not going to be happy with it being given to Pete Ferreira or Levi Raymond.
Name your person on the team. Name your person on the team that would be unhappy with that decision.
Tell me one person who would be unhappy with Pete gaining captaincy over the team.
I don't know, but they probably would be someone.
There probably would be someone, but the majority, I would say that the majority of the team would rather Pete as captain than
key players happy. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and your key players and your big marquee players at the moment, after losing Joey Kelly, is Levi Raymond, is Sam Herban, and is Pete Ferreira. Okay, and I don't think any of them are very happy with the situation that's going on in Brisbane, and namely, what's his face?
Even so, right? It doesn't make. I don't think just the place is doing that bad of a job. I actually don't think he's doing that bad of a job. He's proved us wrong multiple times. We had the same conversation last season, and guess what? He managed to make finals. That has to tell you something. He has
And
to be doing at least a pretty decent job.
and the thing is, in my opinion, they probably they would have been better. And except we keep talking. We talk every week about Justin Plays and the Broncos, and you can't say we don't.
I think it's.
We talked about him last week in reference to Herban and how
You can't say that
And guess
team.
what?
You can't say that teams. They're off the field. They have so much issues. They could be so much better. Like they are.
Yeah.
Far and away. They have the far and away. But
And let me ask you
another
this.
team.
How is this Play's fault?
this place it's the job of a captain to keep his team in line, to make the best decisions in the best interest of the team. And
even so, right? If that is what if he believes it's the best interest of the team, they're not giving him a chance to prove that, are they?
well, he's no offense. I think he's making.
I think
decisions.
he's been given an opportunity to.
Look, I think if he has any chance of saving his captaincy, he needs to make a group of people, including his marquee players, and get their advice on what to do, because at the moment he is not making the right decisions. And I haven't talked to Pete personally, but I have seen in chats he is not happy. He is really just not happy.
He's not happy at the club.
And I would even go as far to saying that some of the people, I'm not going to name names, at the Broncos are even not almost mocking his captaincy and things he does. They don't respect him as a captain.
I think. Look, I'll say this. I think he has, to an extent, lost the dressing room.
Yeah.
But
And once you lose the dressing room,
it's gone. It's gone. As soon as you lose that dressing room, you got.
What I will say is, last season it also looked like he lost the dressing room, and we know what happened. Now, granted, this season and last season are very different, right? We had different issues last season. We have different issues this season. But it all changes if they can get just one win. They're gonna let's just get that little bit over there. They nearly beat the Seagulls this week.
It doesn't change.
It doesn't change because they haven't changed off the field. They need to change their issues off the field. It becomes different if they win and then they can change the off the field issues. If the off field issues change, then I'll say they'll change. But he needs to get that off field issue.
Because even if they get that win, Pete will probably still.
It won't change Pete's view on it.
Yeah, Pete. Even if they get the win, Pete will still probably leave. Even if they get that win and manage to rack up a fifth or fourth place, I think Levi will still leave, because he was promised something. Justin Plays gave it to him in 1 week and then has revoked it instantly.
You need to keep on your word, and he just hasn't. When you're not keeping on your word, how can someone trust you?
Yeah,
I'm not gonna trust someone if they go to their word and then immediately week later they just remove it. They just go away from their word. Like, I'm not gonna trust that person. Being brutally honest.
I think some of the things Place has done has been in his own self-interest as a player rather than in the team, and that's my opinion. You can argue against it, but that's what I see some of his moves as.
So, all right, let's say
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's say if like Justin were to lose his job, who do you think it had his captaincy to?
Pun?
Who do you think his captaincy goes to?
Pete, instantly.
Why does that? Here's the thing, though, right? Pete's already put it out that he's leaving. If he's even thinking of leaving, it doesn't make much sense to give him captaincy anyway.
Because of Plays. If Plays stops being captain, in my opinion, I think Pete stays. because he loves the Broncos. He loves the Broncos with his heart. He has the respect of the players, but he doesn't respect or have the respect of his captain. That is why he is leaving, in my view, because the Broncos aren't like, they're not bottom of the table level. They're definitely a contender for that fourth place. So the only reason he would leave is because he is unhappy with what's going on at the club.
I think as well, though, as we were talking about, as you were saying, though, that they could make finals. Well, I think it's a lot more competitive this season, to be honest. I don't know if the Broncos will make finals, because simply, it is...
There's no guarantee.
There is no guarantee. There is no guarantee they make finals. It just depends on if they can beat the... Because I think, from what we say at the moment, I think the Raiders, Seagulls, and Cowboys will most likely make finals. And then that only leaves one spot, which I think they're battling it out with the Rabbitohs and Warriors, which I don't know if they beat either of those teams.
Yeah.
I think it's only time will tell how Broncos go from now on in. Let me ask you this then. All right, you don't agree with Justin coaching or captaincy at the moment, right? Can you at least give us some like changes you'd make then?
Well, first of all, what's his face starts.
Pete? Are you saying Pete
Yeah,
starts?
Pete starts.
What?
Then you give kicking duties back to Levi to keep your word. That will gain respect instantly from probably Levi and maybe even Pete. Then you've got to trust your team. You make a committee of your key players, which is Herman, Raymond, and Pete. And anytime you think you want to make a change, you want to make a trade, you run it by them first. You don't make them make the changes. You run it by them so that you have an understanding of what they see the position is. And even if you still want to make the decision, you can make it, but just at least I don't know the word, bro.
Contact?
I will say contact, but just keep your players informed and let them have a say in what's going on.
Content?
Because
Is that what you're trying to say?
Pun?
Or are you trying to say content?
Nah. It's a word. Don't worry about it. Keep them in the mix and let them have a say at what's going on, because at the moment he's not making the right decisions.
I can see what you're saying.
This is actually a good segment to transition over to the team. Let's actually start with the Broncos right now. So this is actually brilliant. Transition right here. Sam Herman fullback, Luca Moscow, Tyler Weston on the wings, Jack Spillane, and Justin Plays in the centers. I'm just gonna let people realize that Sam Herman's back in fullback. Okay, hopefully you've realized by now. Mark Guy 5'8", Levi Raymond halfback, Coda Deer, Bo Sadler at hooker or Coda Deer but prop, along with Jordan Ford at prop. Simon Hunt, Jason Farrow second row, Creed Alexander Chapman at lock. Pete Ferreira, Samuel Lillard, Bailey Wilson, Quandale Dingle on the bench. So yes, Herman is at fullback this week. That's at least a start in the right direction, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just whipping them up real quick. Yep.
Alright, so they got...
Yeah.
They got... Okay.
I do like this outside back lineup. I think it's their strongest one, and I think Plays needs to stick with it because it is their strongest. I
think they
do
are
like...
weak in the centres, though, because without Joey, they're now a bit weaker in the centres. So
Yeah.
because now they're playing Spillane at centre, who is not a centre.
Yeah.
I think he's alright defensively at centre.
Defensively, but they need...
You don't really get much strike power at centre.
Tyler Weston was one of one of the best offensive centers in the comps so far this season.
Yeah, but what I will say is that Weston gets that because he's been coming on at prop after being subbed off.
Yeah.
So that's where he's been getting it. But yeah, he has been good though. But I think he'll be alright on the wing. To be honest, I think he deserves a shot on the wing.
Yeah.
I guess they
I'd
do have
like to
Dingle
see him.
though. Maybe they'll be alright.
Yeah.
Who else in this week? I actually don't know. I haven't looked.
Is it?
That's pretty bad.
Let me
I
have
know
a look.
Rabbitohs play Raiders, so
I'm on it now, boys.
I know the Cowboys
Yeah,
play.
they play
It's Broncos.
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
They play
Broncos.
Yeah,
Cowboys.
Broncos. Yeah, it's
Okay,
Broncos.
so
it's a derby.
Cowboys.
Good.
It's the Queensland Derby. And that's interesting. They also have the match before that is the Western Sydney Derby. So that's interesting. That's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, it's gonna be interesting this week for the Broncos because they. I think this week's gonna be very telling. I hope we're not sitting back here next week arguing about the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I just got pinged. That's going to be fun.
Oh.
Oh, that's by you. Okay. Yeah. If we're arguing about the same thing, I'm sorry. It's going to just help my point more about the captaincy thing. But let's
just move on.
Move on. Let's
Yeah,
move
let's move on.
We just move on.
on. Should we go? Just continue going over the team list then?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the Cowboys team list, they've got was Hodgson at centre last
Okay.
week.
Yeah, they've got. So do we want to go over the whole line? We'll just talk about the
Just
changes.
talk the changes. So Lords.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Lords. moved
Off
to
the bench after getting injured.
Yeah.
I actually don't mind that scene, so he's going to be getting more minutes, and that's what we're going to...
Well,
it
not
depends.
necessarily.
You don't necessarily. It depends. Not necessarily.
Because he
Oh.
arguably can, the most he can get, I reckon, the most
Is
he can get 60, but he'd get 65 at lock, so you get...
He'll get less, but even so, that would require him to be moved into the second row, which I don't see it happening due to having Kobe Johnson and Jimmy Akasakau. If he gets something like lockout halftime, he'll get about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
That is a blow then, yeah. Chris Lord, as I was hearing you guys talk about earlier, has been phenomenal.
Yeah, look, I think that I think this Cowboys lineup is very strong. I really do like it. I think I'm looking at some of these players. I think good luck, Brisbane. I think if you look over the lineup, I think almost every single position beats their opposition.
I think the thing for Brisbane is, though, because as we were talking about, if Broncos go 0-3, there could be the mental barrier of saying, oh, now we're down 0-3. I know RL4 doesn't influence this, but maybe there's just a bit of doubts.
How was the episode?
We're still going.
Oh! Sorry, goodbye.
Unless it crashed. Do you want to check a crash, Liam? Do you want to check if it crashed?
Oh.
Just in case. Because that worries me that now it's crashed or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll check it.
What do you mean?
No, because he joined and it makes you think that maybe
No,
it
it's still
crashed.
going. It's still going.
Okay, cool. We continue. Forget that happened.
Wow.
One thing I will say though is I find it quite interesting that Robbo Robinson isn't starting lock over Stace to pace.
Yeah, that's quite interesting, actually.
He's been playing off the bench this season. Personally, I'd be going maybe looking for like a 1-2 punch of Chris Lord and Robbo Robinson. They're both very strong players. I personally be going Robbo Robinson to lock over Stace to pace. If Stace to pace come off the bench, I think Stace to pace is a very good impact player. That's the way I see him as.
And I think Robert Morrison as well is is a very good player in his own right. And I think, I don't know, I'd just have him starting.
I believe he has a start all season. So
what's where has he been coming on? Do you know? Prop?
I think prop, yeah.
Probably.
So only 40 minutes for a player of Robert Robertson's caliber. Oof. But to be fair, their second rows are really good. So
Is it a lock prop? I don't think you can play second row.
Well, can't he just be subbed on wherever?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I thought you were talking about starting.
Nah. I was just
I
talking
thought you were
about-
saying you can't start in the second row. Sorry.
If he's a hang on, isn't he a prop? So wouldn't that mean he can play a prop? He can play all three.
Primary is lock. Primary is lock.
Oh, so he can play hooker second row. He can play lock second row and hooker. I think.
Isn't it lock prop hooker?
No, because I'm pretty sure Create Alex Chapman's the I was looking at Create Alex Chapman. He can play hooker too. Because I think it's lock second row. Hooker.
Weird. I think it's weird. I think it just varies because I think I have a play. I'm pretty sure it just. I always thought it was lock prop hooker, but then I do know that.
Robert Mobiston, lock, prop, and hooker. Yeah.
Yeah, but some are lock hooker second row, so it just varies. Like I know Ash Turner's lock hooker second row.
How does it vary?
Some races vary.
Why does that vary?
I have no idea. I have no idea
Surely
why
it would
some
just
are
be
lock.
the same thing.
I thought it was meant to be the same thing, but you know what? It is what it is for the moment. We can't do much about it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I find it quite interesting as starting Cameron Hodges at at centre over Johnny Columbus. I don't know if we're doing that for a few weeks, but I think I'd be starting Johnny Columbus at centre and having Cameron Hodges go off the bench.
Hodgson probably needs to learn his trade, doesn't he? That's how I see it, but maybe they obviously see it different.
I think Columbus is more a specialised centre.
Is Hodgson more of a second row, you reckon?
Hodgson.
I think he's more of a second row.
Yeah,
I think he's a rookie, but I think he's more of a second row still.
yeah.
Yeah, did I say center? I don't know. I was meant to say second row.
Yeah.
No, you said second row.
I did say
I
second
know.
row.
Yeah. Second row.
Alright, shall we move on to the next team list?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is the Eels.
Eels. Yeah, so they got any
I don't think that-
changes? No, Alistair
Abraham Walker's
Russell.
on the bench. That's massive. Abraham Walker off the bench.
Wow.
That's
That's shocking. He's been their best forward.
yeah.
Now, I think there is a bit of an activity to do with this. I don't think it's because he's been playing bad or anything. I think it is just to do an activity, which is a
Okay.
fair point. But
Yeah.
I look at this as a Penrith captain. I look at this and think you beauty because, and nothing against Alistair Russell, but Abraham Walker's been insane this season. So
Yeah. This team is dangerous. Playing against them, you had Cherry Evans' speed and defense. You just couldn't get around him really. So kick
Yeah.
returns are pretty much covered. Then you've got Charlie Butler. Is a very underrated half in my opinion. I think he's really strong, really good kicking game. Haven't really seen a lot of Blake Harris, so I don't know how good he
doing
goes.
quite well in the half spot, in my opinion. I think the big concern for the Eels though is the forward pack. Their front row rotation is very weak.
Oh yeah, but that's been a problem for them ever since they lost what's his face was it Thomas Wallace?
No,
Who'd they
was it-
lose?
They lost
They lost
Johnson.
Johnston.
Oh, Johnston. Yeah, it's been since season 2 when they lost Kobe Johnston and he stepped down as captain. That's what's been the spiral down for them.
Mm.
Yeah, because they used
Is
to
it-
have two
I
really gun
think-
forwards, and then they had Wallace too to play hooker. Where did
Did
Wallace play? Wallace
Wallace played like prop, I believe,
No, was it?
or lock. It was lock or prop.
I think it was lock. He played on a bench or lock.
He was strong for them.
Yeah, he was really strong for them, and I think they really lost that power. But Atchison's a really good no slouch hooker either. So yeah, I think that's really good for them. But
Atchison has a bit of unluckiness, doesn't he? But hasn't he finished like close to spoon the last couple seasons?
oh, I feel
Mm.
bad for him. He's been at the.
As in, like, it's not his fault. I'm not saying it's his
No.
fault. I think it's similar to Joey Kelly, where he's always a standout. But last season he went from. Oh no, he got the spoon in season 1 with Melbourne.
Melbourne. Yeah.
He got. Then he went to the Cowboys, right?
No, he went to
Yeah.
Canberra.
They went to Broncos season 2, didn't he?
Oh, it was Broncos. He was originally supposed to be at Canberra, but then he went to the. He got traded
Yes,
to the Broncos.
so he won 2 games over the first 2 seasons of his career. He then went to the Raiders, where they won maybe 2 games, and then he won 1 while at the
Yeah.
Eels.
He's been
So
unlucky.
he's won like 6 games or something over 4 seasons, which
Yeah.
to be fair, that's not much better than Penrith's record. Penrith's record's 8 wins over 4 seasons.
Oh.
So you know,
God.
yeah, but
That's a
it's
good
pretty unlucky
segue.
for him. And it's not his fault. We're not saying it's his fault. It's just kind of unlucky for him because he always seems to just get picked up by the teams that aren't doing so well. Don't worry, Samuel Atchison. We'll make
But-
it. We're in the same boat. We haven't made finals either. It's all good.
But talking about Penrith, Lachlan,
Yeah, that's me.
what's happened with your team list? What's going on?
Made a few changes. I don't know if you
Yeah.
noticed.
You,
Just a
Quite
couple.
a few.
just a few.
So, what's the thought here?
I had a few thoughts, you know. I have my reasons. Am I going to tell you my reasons? No. But what
No,
I will
I
say,
don't think so.
the main reason I'm not telling you my reasons is because I actually think, I think personally, the way I came up with the team is actually, it's a big brain play. I know I said that last week. I'm gonna get insulted because I was basically like, I have a plan for Raiders, and then we get smashed. I want to point out, right, my plan was, if you were curious, right, my plan was Fisher coming on in the second half with speed as a prop, right? The thing
Yeah.
was, when that activated, we were already blown out of the water by like 20 or some shit. So it was pointless. It
Yeah.
basically, their fast start basically removed any of my plan. But I think I do have a reason why I've come up with this team list.
I like Fisher's speed in the back play. And I do like Brody Kennedy getting his hands on the ball more. I
Well,
think
don't
he's
know,
definitely
though.
more
No,
dangerous.
I don't like that. I
You don't
have a
like that?
dislike of that.
Well, he's
I don't think he's a
Really?
5'8". He's a way
No,
more
look.
of a fullback. Like,
yeah. I definitely agree with you there, but
I think you'd be
I'm trying to make
surprised.
sense of this, you know.
I think you'd be surprised. I do have my reasons.
But I don't like Isaac Edwards in the centers. I really do
Look,
not.
I have my reasons.
Give you
You know,
for everything.
look,
Jeez.
I can't really tell you anything about the reason on my back 7, but I will tell you why. I've sort of gone away from playing me and Marcus at lock, if you've noticed.
yeah.
Mainly because it's too injury prone. So both those locks, it's going to be shared around 3 different players will play a lock pretty much throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
So that there's no chance of injuries happening.
I'm really just questioning at this stage Isaac
Fine.
Edwards, you know, 82 speed, 74 acceleration and 53 sidestep. That's not really
Center worthy.
an outside back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not really. I mean, when you compare it to my halves, it's not really half material, is it? Is it now?
Oh,
When you compare it to the fact that Kennedy is 98 and Crutch is 95 speed, Fisher's 99 speed.
But Edwards isn't there to be the fast player, is he? He's not there to run the football.
No, but as a wise man once told me, named Joshua Butterfield,
Yeah.
speed helps with kicking, doesn't it?
It does not.
It says in the game options it does.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
I
it
have
does.
like a 90 speed. I have a 99 speed. I'm a
Look
crap
in sprint
It's
speed. A high
supposed
sprint
to.
will increase the player's top running speed. It will
It's-
also increase the chance of successful
Lachlan,
boost to the yeah.
it's supposed to, but I have a 95 speed and it's really not helping.
Well,
Oh,
that's not the only reason anyway, but it is one of the reasons. I have pretty much, if you're curious, I have pretty much rebuilt my team this week. I started from scratch.
Yeah,
That's
talking
what I came
about
up with. Not taking anything into account, I just started from scratch and just built it up and thought that looks good.
the speed. I don't think it helps that much with kicking anymore. That was
Even
an original theory, but as you can see from my past 2 outings, I kicked 3 times last week for 87, and that's with a 95 speed. Or 93, but it's
Alright, we'll have to see then.
yeah.
I think this is the best team on the named all season, to be honest.
Watch next week. They get flogged by the Eels.
Oh, if we get fucking flogged by the Eels, I'm not coming on the show next week.
Yeah, if you get flogged by the Eels,
if we lose to
I'm
the Eels,
calling.
I won't be on here next week. I'll be too sad.
If you get flogged by the Eagles, okay, we're gonna have a Justin plays kind of argument.
Yeah.
I won't come on.
Oh,
I'll
you
just
can't
sit at
do
home.
that.
We're not
man.
gonna
You
discuss it.
can't do that. You can't do that. It's like a
Alright, I
mission.
can.
Nah,
Alright,
look,
let's move on to
I
the
don't
next
I don't
one.
hate it.
South
I don't
Sydney.
hate it, but at the same time, I don't think it's your best.
I've seen better.
Yeah, but Tyler, you're also colorblind.
I think it's our best.
I actually don't know if Tyler's colorblind.
No.
Let's move on to the next lineup, which is actually the
Ours.
Rabbitohs lineup. We've made
Yeah.
How
many changes did we make?
I don't think
No
we made
change.
any changes. I think no.
Oh, he's a
actually,
lock.
Oh, Jackson
no,
Allison off the
no,
bench.
He's a
Jackson, no, Allison was off the bench last week.
Oh yeah, but that was because he was
No,
injured.
he's a
Yeah,
lock.
he's back to the starting lineup at lock.
I want to know, why'd you keep Allison off the bench?
Extra minutes.
Actually,
Yeah.
that's-
How do you? If you play him in second row, you can still play him 80.
Yeah, but we don't. We like taking our second rows off.
Fair enough then.
Yeah.
We don't
Fair
like
enough.
taking our props off. I like giving
Mm.
Remy and Davis the minutes.
Remy and Davis have been really strong.
But once they
not
get their
really
speed
back
up, they're gonna be guns. Like if they can get
Yeah.
their speeds up, they're gonna be absolute. Like Davis has been so strong this season. If he can get the speed on him, he's
Yeah, I
going to be
remember-
so good.
I remember, I think it was Davis the other last week. He made a break and he was doing so well for the team, and he just couldn't go anywhere because he just does.
He
He's
doesn't have
not
the
that
speed
quick.
at the moment, but once he has the
No,
speed,
he'll be great. Yeah, he's
He's-
only at 56 speed at the moment, which
he
isn't
has
that
pretty
great.
good
But
other stats though. I'm pretty sure he's pretty good strength, isn't he?
83 strength, that's
Yeah,
pretty
he's
good.
pretty straight. That's good.
It's pretty good.
For a person who's still a bronze, that is very good.
Just the speed. If we can work on his speed though, like he'll be a very good player. And yeah, and the reason we have started, if you can read what I'm doing, what me and Jai are thinking is, because we start Allison will end up playing more minutes than both our second rowers, because we don't have
Probably,
the
yeah.
problem we have is we have Oshay Ole, who's not really a center. He can play center, but he's not really
no.
a specialist center. And also,
he's-
I don't really want to take off Jai, or we don't want to take off Jai. We don't want to take off Saddlecart, really. He's certainly not a specialist winger.
Yeah, he's built like a half, but
And he's one of the.
At the
He'd be a slow. I'm pretty sure he's got like 60 speed. It's not. He
Yeah,
is
60
definitely.
speed.
He's definitely not an
66.
outside back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Definitely
needs
not an
to
outside
get
back.
he needs to get that speed up.
That's why he's
But
playing
he
second
just-
row.
He just doesn't fit a whole lot at the moment, you know,
I think he's
with
once
this team.
apparently from what I've heard, he's friends with some of the Manly boys, Matty Harris and co. So
Bro, he'll go there and just become like a New South Wales Australian
yeah,
representative.
that's
swear
what I
to
was
God.
about to say.
Yeah. Did he just
Like-
goes up to 68 overall?
They know what they're doing, bro.
Next team now, anyway.
Yeah, let's move on to the next team list. And I believe it is the Raiders. Yes, it is. Have they made any changes? Williams goes back to lock. Bob Williams is injury prone though. He's got to cut down on injuries. Or they may have to do something similar to Penrith where they're just playing a committee at lock. Because they have.
Look, to be honest, I think locks are a really interesting position on rugby level. I think if you have a really good lock, they'll be really good for you. But if they're not really good at lock, then it's pretty much a waste playing them a lock, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's as long as they can play the whole game there without getting having much chance of injury, they're fine. So
Yeah. Look, I really do like our team at the moment. We just need to get
we
our
need to take our
forwards.
opportunities. It's as simple as that.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's also we've got a very strong back line. We've got a lot of golds in there, but we didn't really focus on um on getting any, like, I'm talking 65s in our forwards really
Allison.
besides Allison, and we're focusing a lot on developing
Isn't
our.
guys a 65-ish?
Is he?
I don't know. I'll look at.
Hold up, let me check.
Guys is up there.
Guys
he?
is a 64.
64. I
Yeah.
thought he was a 64 or 66.
But half of our forward pack is in the 63s and below, which is good. We're developing our players, but we just got to kind of hope that they stick with us for the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the players just have to stick with us for the long run. I think they have to kind of trust in the process. It's kind of, I know I've heard people say, I know it's a very, what do you call it? A very template response, but it's really just the way that it's gonna work. I think you just gotta trust the process. If you're at South, you gotta trust it. This is
Yeah.
not gonna be a one season thing where we're gonna immediately become the best team in the SRL. We despise. We want to be that, but this isn't gonna take one season. It will take multiple.
Yeah.
I think it's a
Yeah.
developing thing. Because all these players are not once these players, all these rookies come alive, because we need if we can keep all our players, all these batch of players, and no one goes inactive, then I think we're all good. But it's all about that. So it's just all about building the team and.
Yeah. I think we've talked about Rabbits enough. I think we should move on to the Raiders. And would have been good to have Tim James on tonight to help us with this, but I do not believe they've made any changes besides misspelling Jacob Morrison's name. But
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't think I've made any changes actually.
yeah, it's a very strong side. You know, they beat a very good.
Jake Hockman. Wow.
Yeah, a very, very good side. They beat, in my opinion, a very strong Penrith side that are just getting unlucky at the moment. But yeah, they're definitely someone to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really know that. Yeah, the Raiders they really I don't know why did my mind blank, but I think the Raiders they're a really good side, and I think it's gonna be really hard for us to beat them. In saying that, I think we can, but I think it'll be really tough. If the Raiders keep the way they move the ball is so fluent, and although they make errors from it sometimes, but if they can get that right, we are so far behind them in their out ball movement. That's something we need to take in the clips and just go. That's how we need to move the ball, because we don't move the ball as well as they do, as them and Manly do, and I think it's something we need to take into account.
Yeah.
Fair
Anyone
enough.
else
Should we
got-
move on to the
Yeah.
should we move on to the next team list?
Yep.
Yeah.
Manly
Manly.
with the new acquisition, Joey Kelly, moving on to the right wing. Matthew Harris has to start off the bench. I believe was it an injury?
L.
It was an injury, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yep. So Matty Harris is off the bench. Jesse Bennett gets to start at lock. Ethan Goodwin moves to the bench, which is exactly probably why they wanted to get a class winger in Joey, is because they because they're having to play a rookie center, which they probably didn't want to. They didn't want to play a rookie center starting, which is why they wanted to get Maverick Oldfield back in the centers, and then they could move Joey to the wing, and then move Goodwin back to the bench, which is what they've done. Which I think that bolsters their side, and I think it's a perfect side. Man, they're going to be hard to beat for the Warriors, but the Warriors, they've got Chance Bunts. If anyone can if anyone can do damage to the Seagulls side, I think it is Chance Bunts. Chance Bunts is probably the best player in the SRL. I think he is the most. He will make something out of nothing, really. I think he makes something out of nothing, which is really going to could make Manly struggle. But as we know before, as we've seen before, it's very hard to break that Manly defense. You have to have so many sets on their line to break them. So I think it's going to be a real challenge for Chance Bunts and his Warriors. Shall we go straight to the Warriors side?
Yeah, I think we should.
Yes, the Warriors. Have they made any changes? I can't see any.
Logan Strange starting at prop.
Oh, yep, and they got Jaden White, hooker.
Looking straight at prop.
And then they
Yeah.
got Patrick Corcoran at lock.
Yeah.
Rogers moves back to the second row. Nenai
And
off the bench.
Jaden White.
Hannah off the bench.
Did Nenai get an injury?
Nah. That's interesting. Very interesting.
Did
He hasn't. Wow, that's very interesting.
was Jaden White always hooker?
Nah, they've moved Corcoran to lock and moved Jaden White to hooker. Another
That's
very
right.
interesting thing they've done.
I think Jaden White is not a bad player.
I'll tell you what. It's not that bad. I think you'd find what Warriors are doing is trying to counter when Matt Harris comes on.
Yeah.
Because what you got to keep in mind, right? When Matt Harris comes on, it's going to be starting forwards golf. So having John Nada go on in that 20-minute period where Matt Harris is going to be on for the first 20 minutes,
It could be smart.
that would be huge.
Yeah.
Have Nada and Harris going head to head. I actually think that's a brilliant play by the Warriors. If that's
That
the
actually
planning.
is thinking about it. That actually, you're probably right because they have Matt Harris going off the bench, and when he comes on, you have John Nenai to come on too. Because if they had played it normally and had Nenai starting, who's coming on? What are they going to bring on?
It'd probably be like
Logan
what?
Strange.
No, you'd assume it'd be Strange would be starting somewhere. It'd probably be like Ngo and Slattery or something like that.
Yeah, it would probably be Ango.
Probably would be, but
I
think
also,
Slattery, I think, has been promised a starting position, so probably they didn't want to hurt his relationship with the club.
Also, another thing was Liam Rogers just moved to the centers, or did he play second row last week?
He played centers last week, and then he's played second row this week. He keeps switching around.
That's
That
a
is a good move. You need to get him a solid ball. I quite like Liam Rogers. I think he's a solid player.
I think he is, and if I'm being honest, I hate saying this, but I would love to see him at Souths. And Souths did make an offer for him. Unluckily, we didn't get the offer approved by the Warriors. But yeah, I think it shows he's a brilliant player. And he's class.
Yeah.
So that should conclude the episode of SRL 360 tonight.
We have to go over our tips, don't we?
Oh no, our
That's
tips.
it.
Sorry, my bad.
You're so
I'm so stupid. Yeah, it doesn't sound funny. But let's go to the tips. So the very first game of the round. Can anyone remind me what the first game of the round is? Is it in order on the teams?
Panthers v Eels.
Or Panthers v
I
Eels?
love having Comish on.
Alright,
Yeah.
Butters, what's your tip?
Panthers v Eels. I think the Panthers get their first win of the season over here. Despite the changes, I still think that they've
First
still
win of
got.
2022. Let's go. It'll be a first win of 2022.
It actually is.
I'm still crying that we haven't won this year yet.
Oh,
Imagine they go the whole
But-
year without winning.
bro, don't.
Don't even joke about that. It has crossed my mind more than once. Don't even joke about that.
Quick question, Lachlan. If you don't win this season, are you going to fast track the next season just to get a win in 2022?
December.
I still don't.
Just to
Well,
try and
Oh yeah, play trial match in like the 7:31st just to win. I'll verse like the Mines players.
You'll
Might
put
get a win
yourself
that
against
way.
the Mines. Yeah, just against the Mines.
Oh,
If we lose the match, we get demoted.
Get demoted to the Mines.
Yeah, Fred have become the Mines team, and like I don't know, like fucking. Oh, I shouldn't swear on this. Sorry.
Oh, good.
I don't know, bloody Firehawks can come up.
yeah. Look, yeah, I think Penrith get the win here. I think he'll be closer on going 1-6. Liam, what's your tips?
Okay, we'll go to Tyrone's tip first. Tyrone, what's your tip? Is Tyrone in?
Thanks, Tom.
Tyrone?
I was
I guess-
muted.
I guess-
Yeah, I was muted. Right. So
Huh.
I'm also going 1-6, but I'm going the other way. I think Parramatta will sneak this home. They'll keep it right in the last 5 minutes. Break Penrith's hearts.
Oh, again? Oh, I remember the last time. I remember having to do the analyst
I'm
role.
I'm not going on to what happened last time.
I remember
That
the
was an
analyst-
absolute.
I
I
remember
got
doing-
injured too. I got injured too that game.
I do remember that game. I remember the analyst being the analyst commentator for that game, like next to Comish, and that was a very entertaining game, and I think that was
Two penalty goals when we're down by 6.
Yeah, I do remember that. That was
Oh
pretty
my
fun.
god. I was injured when it happened too, so it was Mark. We're playing Mark Lee. It wasn't my fault. It's Mark Lee's fault. I was injured when it happened,
Markley's fault.
so
We'll just blame it on Markley.
Yeah, blame it on Markley.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, but in all seriousness, I think that Penrith will win this. Probably like by 2.
Ooh.
Lock on much a tip.
And then we go to the captain.
well, look. I'm
Obviously,
not gonna
if they
say,
pick us.
actually, I'm not going to say what the tip is. I'll get it on next week if we lose. So I'll just say, I hope we win because I'm the Penrith captain. Actually, fun fact before we head off to the next game, right? Every game between these two clubs has been played at Bluebet Stadium.
Wow.
Yeah, I just found the fun. I was looking at the stat website right
Yeah,
now.
that is true.
Current. Oh, yeah, right. Both of us are second last and last. Right. No, this should be interesting. Anyways, yeah. We should move on to the next game.
Yeah.
Another derby. 2 derbies
Yeah.
this game. I actually think this round's probably been that is going to be a very interesting round. Another derby,
Yeah.
the Queensland Derby, Brisbane versus Cowboys.
Look, I don't think the Broncos win this one. I think they don't. They're not in the right headspace to win against one of those top teams in North Queensland. I think they can make it competitive at their best, but I think there's just too much going on at the moment, and just yeah, I'm just gonna go Cowboys 1-4.
I think Butters, you're being quite generous. I think Cowboys by plenty.
Oh,
But Tyrone, what's your tip?
so I think. Oh, this could go anyway, but I think Cowboys will win this by 18.
This could go. Tyrone says this could go either
this could
way.
go either way.
Oh, yeah, but then proceeds
Yeah,
to say they'll win
smashing
by
the-
18.
Yeah. It'll either be a smashing for North Queensland or Brisbane win by a point.
Fair enough then.
Cowboys will
I'm gonna I want to see Brisbane win, just to stick it to you all. But you guys all get. It'd be funny to see Justin Place just give you big fat middle finger again.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, to be fair, he could have realistically he could have done. He could have been like they were actually very good against Manly, but I'm sorry, Justin. I'm gonna have to go with the Cowboys on this one. I'm gonna say 22 points.
Oh,
Yeah, 22 points. I like the number 22.
And the next game is
oh,
going to be a big one in my opinion. Rabbitohs v Raiders.
Oh, no.
Coffs Harbour. Boys,
Both.
Coffs Harbour.
Does that mean you guys just ask me and I just give my opinions that you guys all play for the team? Raiders,
No, I'm
Rabbitohs?
gonna still
No,
say
we're still
13
with
plus,
Silver.
obviously.
No.
We love Coffs Harbour.
It's actually
Um,
at Coffs Harbour. I didn't realise we were
It's
going
Coffs
It
out.
is.
Harbour.
Yeah. Last game between the two teams was also played at
Oh yeah,
Coffs
it was
Harbour.
too. Was it Coffs Harbour? I do remember.
Seeing it
First
turn,
versus third. I think at the moment, right?
don't you dare.
I think at the moment, Rabbitohs just aren't there yet. Considering how much ball they had against Penrith, they should have won by more. They had so much ball against Penrith. And it was a 2 tries in 5 minutes, they ended up winning them the game. But they had so much ball against Penrith, and they should have won by more. Against the Eels, they were pretty disappointing. Let's be realistic, they were pretty disappointing.
hmm
I think it's gonna be the Raiders by a decent margin. I'll go 20.
Okay.
Now I'm looking at the stats here. This is purely based off the stats. Our last 2 meetings, we've won both. Okay,
Yeah, but I don't really look at that too much, to be honest.
The last
Like,
3 meetings. we've won
and
three.
also, whilst the Rabbitohs haven't been scoring, they've been defending quite well. You look at South's game against Penrith. Penrith only scored 6, whilst we did only score 18. Whereas the Canberra Raiders let in 18 points from Penrith, whilst also scoring 36. So it's whether, in my opinion, it's whether Canberra can outscore Souths at this in this game, and I think Souths can score a bit and stop Canberra.
Ooh.
Yeah, in order to win, you just have to score more teams than the opposition. It's not that hard.
Oh yeah, fact, yeah.
100%. I mean, one thing that gives me hope is that I think that even though we weren't great against either of the first 2 sides, I think we still got the job done. We still got the 2 wins. As we got the job
Yeah.
done, as much
Yeah.
as we need to step up the level, I think we can do it. I know that the class of our team shown that we can do it, and I think that as long as our defense steps up enough, I think I'm gonna go South by 4.
I think you guys are being a little bit too confident here.
Yeah.
I think yeah.
Look. I think by 2. We'll get
What do
Good
you
luck.
expect us to
Been a
not
close
tip
one.
our own team? Well, of course we're
Yeah.
gonna
I mean,
tip our team.
Yeah, I do. I do actually.
Okay.
Anyways,
That's easy.
Well,
to say.
well,
it's just bias tipping, but anyway, sure, whatever
No.
you want. Anyway, the next game, the final game of the round, is Manly versus Warriors. And I'm going to be honest, I'm actually really excited for this game too. I'm excited for all games this round. I think all 4 games. This is the most hype weekend we've had in a while.
yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, look, there's not really a lot that I can say here. Whilst I do think the Warriors are going to be very competitive, they're letting in too many tries. Their defense hasn't been great for them. Whereas it's the complete opposite for Manly, who actually haven't been scoring a whole bunch. But they get Joey Kelly this week, who we know can score a lot of tries if given the opportunity. And with this Warriors defense, I think Joey's going to have a fun day. So I think Manly win by about 8.
Oh.
I'm going to do as I did all season so far. And I just have a feeling. I have a funny feeling today, alright?
Your feeling, yes.
I have a funny feeling. Now, it's not a very good funny feeling. Like always. And my feeling's always off. But I have a funny feeling that Manly are going to break the losing streak today, this
Good.
week.
That's
And
big.
The
I'm
Joey
going to tip
Kelly
Warriors by
curse.
2. I just have a feeling. The Joey curse is going to continue.
Yes.
Sorry, Joey. I know you want to win,
I
but
love that curse.
you're going to remain under Penrith's win for the past 2 seasons. so that I have something that I can strive towards.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my tips.
I think that, to be honest, I think that it's a good. Yeah, I don't know. I think that I don't know. I think mainly by 4. Okay, so that should wrap up the episode here at SRL 360 headquarters.